Shalom, shalom, shalom. By Tabutad. Joseph David, the elect. Just give me 1 second here. All right. Shalom, shalom. All right, first and foremost, as always, want to give all honors and praises to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Wachachodash. Double honors and salutations, first and foremost, to Yahweh, Yahweh Shai. And then onto our elders and our apostles, the elder bishops, all right, our leaders, our heads. Shalom unto you, beautiful men. Thwada for your labor for all these years. You're definitely worthy of the title, double honors. And shalom to the 144,000 men of the elect body of the kingdom to come that is fast approaching, studying at this very hour profusely that your house may be blessed through election. Shalom to the innumerable 1/3 that consists of men, women, and children that are blessed with the mark of the Torah, which is judgment from the judgment that is fast approaching. All right, and those who are ordained to believe on the names of Yahweh, Yahweh Shai, in all truth and sincerity. All right, I am the brother Yazarayala from the GMS Dallas camp, coming back at you. All right, and I got the brother, the priest, all right, Akia, my brother, the priest, Kawan, with me. And Khan. And we're going to go ahead. This is there's been some kind of differences in schedules and whatnot, but we're kind of re-picking up. This is a session or segment that we do, and we go into the book of Maccabees, right, and just break down the book of Maccabees just to give you some history, as our history is very, very important. So it's been a couple of months since we were actually able to kind of reconvene. Brothers was moving, and a lot of stuff there was just a lot of movement. But call Haloya Habashim again that we're actually back on deck and we're able to continue feeding the sheep, so to speak. All right. Now, what we've been going through the book of Maccabees, as I said, in the history pertaining to it, as we have a very wonderful history. All right. And we've gone from 1 all the way up to we're in book 10 now. All right. Now, Barat Azar, we can continue just to kind of give you some history. So, Babu Shah, for those of you who tune in, pull your swords out of their sheaths and follow along. All right. As this is the correct way to teach and to learn. So, you know that these are not our vain opinions or words with the actual oracles of the Heavenly Father. Right. 1 Thessalonians 5:21, prove all things and hold fast, which is good. Okay. Now, in this book, Maccabees, the 10th chapter, all right, it pretty much outlines the struggle, all right, between foreign kings fighting over Jerusalem, right, when you go into the history. And it wasn't, I want to say, after Judas's death, Jonathan was basically asked to succeed, all right, his brother, all right. And this chapter essentially goes into a lot more of when you see just the fighting and the struggling, all right, with the foreign kings pertaining unto Jerusalem, all right, and chiefly over Jonathan, because he showed himself to be a very worthy ally, all right. He was a very valuable friend, all right, to anyone that was wanting to stay on the throne, all right, of the Seleucid Empire, or at least have some kind of peace in Syria, all right. So he was a very important piece. And this is a very important piece in our history when you learn about it. All right. And like I said, for those who aren't familiar with this is in the Apocrypha. All right. This is one of the 14 canonized books that were removed from the Apocrypha from the Roman RCC. If you ever buy 1611 King James, it is in that. It is. Those books are in that Bible. All right. So, but if you don't, you can actually get the book. It's called the Apocrypha. Apocrypha means the hidden. And it's hidden for a very good reason, because it exposes, more. It goes into detail more on who we are. It goes into our history, and it really gives you the understanding. So when you read Galatians 3:28, it says neither Jew nor Greek. All right, if you don't have a lot of that Greek captivity, you're not going to understand, and you're going to be stumbling and thinking that the Greek meaning just all nations, which that isn't true. All right, that's talking about, this is during the Hellenization period. All right, there were a lot of fighting, a lot of skirmishes. All right, so we were under the Greek captivity during this time, and going into the Roman Empire, and we were calling ourselves Greeks, right? No different than we call ourselves African American today, all right? Because we were Hellenized meaning that we learned the literature, the culture, the religion, the customs of our captive lands, and we forgot who we were. Therefore, we were calling ourselves Greeks. All right, just to give you some history. So this pretty much gives you the full understanding of Galatians and some of the other chapters, as you know, going into the Bible, because the Greek captivity is not in your regular King James Bible. I just want to make that clear. I don't know if you want to add something, Priest.
Nah, you went in. Pretty good
God,
intro.
God. So okay, so we're gonna go ahead and get into it here. Matter of fact, this is great. I want 10. Salaki, give me 1 second here.
We actually on like 12, bro.
Are we?
hmm Last one we did was 11.
Mm, okay. All right. Let me see here. Because I did some brushing up on 10. I thought we were on 10 for some reason. So I kind of went into some history and some brushing up on 10. I wasn't. It's just with Roman Sparta. Okay. Okay. All right. So yeah, this is I'm talking about this is First Maccabees, the 12th chapter, the alliances with Rome and with Sparta. Let me see here. Right here. All right. Just to kind of give you a little background on some of this, when you go into the 10th, First Maccabees, the 10th chapter, it talks about, as a matter of fact, I'll just grab this here because it's all pretty much correlates. All right. Just because, like I said, it's been a minute since we did this. So I thought we left off on 10, but apparently it was 12. So I'm just going to kind of catch you up roughly. All right. When you're going into this, this talks about First Maccabees 10th chapter. In the year 160, Alexander Epiphanes, the son of Antiochus the fourth, landed in Ptolemais and captured it. Right. So this was really roughly around, I want to say about 152 BC. Now, when you go into the back's history, it was King Demetrius who killed Antiochus Antipater, I think it was. And but it was Antiochus Epiphanes who basically usurped the authority. All right. And took his throne. All right. And he killed Slakia here. Hold on. I lost my train of thought here. I had some precepts I was going to pull out here. Yeah, see, killed Demetrius and left Rome. All right. Killed Antiochus Antipater. I always get that name confused. All right. And he pretty much fled Rome. All right. And he also fled with the crown. All right. During this time because it wasn't really given permission. So just to give you some background and some understanding, because there was some infighting and some tension between Rome. All right. So ultimately, Rome didn't like Demetri. All right. So what they did was they raised up Alexander the Great. All right. And that speaks more about that when it talks about that when you go into the first chapter of First Maccabees. And he was pretty much supposed to be the successor of Antiochus Epiphanes. All right. And Demetrius was kind of frightened, or pretty much had fear. All right. So he wanted the support of Jonathan. All right. So like I said, so there was a lot of infighting and a lot of dissension between Rome. All right. During this time. So just to kind of catch you up on that. And I'm going to go here to 12. You want to read for me, brother?
God.
All right. Hold on. There we go. Okay.
First Maccabees, you ready?
Mm-hmm.
First Maccabees 12:1. Now when Jonathan saw that time served him, he chose certain men and sent them to Rome for to confirm and renew the friendship that they had with them.
Mm-hmm.
Verse 2.
Right. Right. Because as I said, there was a lot of infighting and there was a lot of dissension. Right. But Rome had between you, but like I said, Jonathan was a very valuable piece. All right, he was a very valuable man within that time and a great person to have have as an ally. All right, and so Rome recognized that. And we know again, this is Jonathan talk. This goes back into our history. This is also one of our forefathers as well. All right, who feared Yahweh Bashim El Shah. All right, so just to give you, as we kind of catch up, he was in a very special place, so to speak, because or a neutral place, should I should say, because everyone pretty much wanted him as allies. So he had a very important and prominent position in these days. So go ahead.
Verse 2, he sent letters also to the Lacedaemonians and to other places for the same purpose. Verse 3, so they went unto Rome and entered into the Senate and said, Jonathan, the high priest, and the people of the Jews sent us unto you, to the end ye should renew the friendship which ye had with them, in league as in former times. Upon this, the Romans gave them letters unto the governors of every place that should bring them into the land of Judea peaceably.
Hmm. Right. So going back into because this goes into understanding how important, and it's really no different than today. Our land to this day is being fought over between Ishmael and Amalek. So it's always been a very prominent land within the earth that was desired for all the nations. So everything that's happening today is the same stuff that was happening back then. If you can receive it, all right. It's always pretty much been the fighting over the Lord's choice land, which was given to a choice of particular people, which was us. Go ahead.
In the control over the Israelites, man.
That's
You got
right.
you got control
That's
over the
right.
Israelites, you can control the world.
Right, right, because we were people before we were a place. That's absolutely right. So we're also known as Jerusalem, the people. Go ahead.
Verse also a big part of why you can't leave Esau's country, you know what I'm saying,
Right,
without identification.
right, and also one of the reasons why they don't allow they don't allow what is it like genealogy or what's the word for it? DNA testing in Israel.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't allow that over there, and we know why.
Yep.
Ironically, but you got it.
Verse 5, and this is the copy of the letters which Jonathan wrote to the Lacedaemonians, which like I say, so to show you that it was Jake living over there.
Right.
Verse 6, which the Lacedaemonians, you look that up, it goes show you where they got the movie 300. You know,
Right. 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 As a matter of fact, I'm glad that you said that. Where were we in? Was it a five you were in? Yeah,
yeah,
Lacedaemon. So when you've seen the movie, because the original Spartans were Jakes, hence the reason why they were so cut up, they were so ripped, they all had beards. And when you look at that movie and you see the shields, they had an L on the shields. That's what that stands for. What the brother just said.
right. It's not an arrowhead; it's an L.
Yes.
Verse 6, Jonathan the high priest and the elders of the nation and the priests and the other Jews unto the Lacedaemonians, their brethren, send greeting.
Shalom.
Yeah. Verse 7, that's why Gerard brother, I think that's his name in the movie.
Yep.
He told that nigga, we're not like those boy lovers. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yep.
Two different people.
Yeah. Yeah. There was a lot of hidden messages within that. And when you understand the scriptures, you'll understand why. Esau knows. You know. I'm glad you
Yep.
said that. Yeah, that was heavy.
Yep. Verse 7, there were letters sent in times past unto Onias, the high priest from Darius, who reigned then among you, to signify that ye are brethren, as the copy here under written doeth specify.
Hmm.
At which time Onias entreated the ambassador that was sent honorably, and received the letters wherein declaration was made of the league and friendship. There we there we also, albeit we need none of these things, that we have the holy books of scriptures in our hands to comfort us,
Right.
having nevertheless attempted to send unto you for the renewing of brotherhood and friendship, lest we should become strangers unto you altogether. For there is a long time past since ye sent unto us.
Hmm.
We therefore, at all times without ceasing, both in our feasts and other convenient days, do 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 remember you in the sacrifices which we offer in our prayers, as reason is, and as it becometh us to think upon our brethren.
Right. So this was a common practice, right? That was, we were sworn to do that, in whatever land that we would be in, or we would be under captive, whether in our own land, we are home, or we were scattered out and abroad. So you see, our culture, our history, our practices were always something that was very, very important, and that's what kept us close to Yahweh Yahushua. All right, and that's one of the main reasons when you go into the Maccabees. That was during that captivity. They passed decrees that we couldn't call ourselves Jews anymore. We couldn't celebrate the high holy days. We couldn't celebrate any of our customs. We couldn't. We pretty much had to just erase our identity. All right, and they knew by doing that, because each and every time they would come in, what would they do? They would attack the temple. So that was their way of separating us from our power. And we understood that, being in the land, and in the days of ancient or antiquity, that's why we all those kept those things at high regard, because the Lord would always be dealing with us and fight for us. So when we became Hellenized, all right, so that's what the whole preaching of the 12 disciples and the apostles went out basically to gather the nations, Israel, who were scattered amongst the nations, no different really than we are here today, being Hellenized. So we're being brought back to our customs, our heritage. Scripture talks about in the land of their captivity, they shall remember themselves. We will rehearse the righteous acts. So that's something that's always been a part of our culture, as you see here in the history that we're reading. Go ahead.
Verse 12, and we had right glad of your honor. Verse 13, as for ourselves, we have had great troubles and wars on every side,
Mm-hmm.
for as much as the kings that are round about us have fought against us. However, we would not be troublesome unto you, nor
Mm-hmm.
to others of our confederates, friends, in these wars.
Right.
For we have help from heaven that succoureth us, so as we are delivered from our enemies, and our enemies are brought under foot. For this,
Ooh.
for this cause we chose Ninemus, the son of Antiochus, and Antipater, the son of Jason, and sent them unto the Romans to renew the enmity that we had with them in the former league.
Say it again. Read that again.
Verse 16, for this cause we chose Nimenus, the
Mm-hmm.
son of Antiochus, and Antipater, the son of Jason, and sent them unto the Romans to renew the enmity that
Mm-hmm.
we had with them in the former league. Enmity.
Right, right. That enmity, all right, which was basically warring, that breaking away, all right, being under the Greek captivity, all right, and then after Greek captivity, the Roman captivity. But there was, this the family of the Maccabees is very, very important, because we were a family that revolted. With our history, when you go into it, um, very strong-willed through the strength and power of Yahweh Hashem Yahshua. So we had leagues with these different nations, but we still are able to, in some way, some shape or form, be able to adhere or keep uh, um, our own rights, our own customs, and whatnot. But during the skirmishes and the different wars that begin to happen, a lot of stuff broke away. So this is basically, they're talking about trying to reunite that league that was once that we once had with Rome at one particular time. Go ahead.
Okay, verse 17. We commanded them also to go unto you and to salute and to deliver you our letters concerning the renewing of our brotherhood. Wherefore now you shall do well to give us an answer thereto. And this is a copy of the letters which Oniris sent Arius,
Mm-hmm.
king of the Lacedaemonians, to Onias, the high priest, greeting. It is found in writing that the Lacedaemonians and Jews are brethren, and that they are of the stock of Abraham.
Mm-hmm.
That'll further prove our point. Now,
Right.
therefore, since this is come to our knowledge, you shall do well to write unto us of your prosperity. We do write back again to you that your cattle and goods are ours, and ours are yours.
Mm.
We do command, therefore, our ambassadors to make report unto you on this wise. Now, when Jonathan heard that Dembius, prince, prince were come to fight against him with a great host
Hmm.
than afore.
Hmm.
He removed from Jerusalem and met them in the land of Amethyst, for he gave them no respite to enter in his country. He sent spies also unto their tents, who came again and told him that they were appointed to come upon them in the night season.
Hmm.
Wherefore, so soon as the sun was down, Jonathan commanded his men to watch and to be in arms, that all the night long they might be ready to fight. Also, he sent forth sentinels round about the host. But when the adversaries heard that Jonathan and his men were ready for battle, they feared and trembled in their heart, and they kindled fires in their camp. Howbeit Jonathan and his company knew it not till the morning, for
Hmm.
they saw the lights burning. Then Jonathan pursued after them, but overtook them not, for they were gone over the river El- Eltaris.
Hmm.
Wherefore Jonathan turned to the Arabians, who were called Jabanese, and smote them and took their spoils. Removing thence, he came to Damascus,
Hmm.
and so passed through all the country. Simon also went forth and passed through the country unto Ascalon, and holds there adjoining from hence. He turned aside to Joppa
Hmm.
and won it, for he had heard that they would deliver the hold unto them that took Demetrius' part, wherefore he sent a garrison there to keep it. After this came Jonathan home again, calling the elders of the people together. He consulted with them about building strongholds in Judea and
Right.
making.
Right. So, Slakia. So yeah. So basically, him coming back, to Jerusalem, because why? Because he knew that there was going to be a campaign that was going to take place. All right. So the Salakia. At the time comes off in my headphones. Um, so going back to Jerusalem, going back to the homeland, basically rallying the people up through the spirit. All right, what preparing, right? Because once again, this is going into the plethora of wars that we had to go through all throughout this time period during the Maccabees, all right, and the different revolts that we had. All right, coming in and out of the land and defending the land, all right, losing some certain allies, and then certain other countries want allied with us or back with us, so just so you understand that the back and forthness that's going on here. Go ahead.
Hmm, oh, 1 second.
You got it. Okay. Let
All
me see
right.
something here.
You can hear me?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Verse 36. In making the walls of Jerusalem higher and raising a great mountain between the tower and the city, for to separate it from the city, that so it might be alone, that men might neither sell nor buy in it. I mean, hey, Jonathan learned from the past skirmishes with
Right.
Israel, man,
Right.
and how easy it was for Israel to be overcome,
Yep.
making extra defenses to the city.
Yep. Yep. Certain walls that were when you go into this, were broken down. He rebuilt and actually refortified. Exactly.
Yep,
Understanding what happened before in the past. Yep. You got it.
yep. Verse 37. Upon this they came together to build up the city, for as much as part of the wall toward the brook on the east side was fallen down, and they repaired that which was called Capithinia,
Mm-hmm.
Captain, Cap, Cap, Captain,
Capitania.
yeah, Capithinia, fuck it, Slovakia.
Oh, no, you good.
38. Simon also set up Adia, Adada, and Selfla, Sifla,
Oh,
and made it strong with gates and bars. Now Tryphon went about to get the kingdom of Asia and to kill Antiochus, the king, that he might set the crown upon his own head. Howbeit he was afraid that Jonathan would not suffer him, and that he would fight against him.
Mm-hmm.
Wherefore he sought a way how to take Jonathan, that he might kill him. So he removed and came to Bethshan. Then
Mm-hmm.
Jonathan went out to meet him with 40,000 men chosen for the battle, and came to Bethshan. Now, when Tryphon saw Jonathan came with so great a force, he durst not stretch his hand against him, but received him honorably, and commended him unto all his friends, and gave him gifts, and commanded his men of war to be as obedient unto him as to himself.
Right,
Unto
because he knew that he had rebelled against. He knew that he had rebelled against um, King Antiochus. All right, so this is again going all back into this back and forth history. I just kind of wanted to add that. um, so because at the end of the day, it was what's this, Antiochus, so that he could make himself king of Assyria. Um, right. So ultimately, they wanted to remove Jonathan as well.
Yep.
See, that's what it really boils down to, because they have their own. You know, with Jonathan out of the way, he could succeed in being king of Syria this time. All right,
Yep.
you got it.
Verse 44.
Mm-hmm.
Unto Jonathan also he said, Why hast thou brought all these people to so great trouble, seeing there is no war betwixt us? Now Jonathan trying to figure out why he brought all these damn people.
Right,
You know what
right,
I'm saying? And at first, Tryphon was gonna fight, but shit,
right.
since he see all of them, them soldiers Jonathan came with, he thought twice.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
Yep.
yeah. Verse 45. Therefore send them now home again,
Mm-hmm.
and choose few men to wait on thee, and come thou with me to Ptolemais, for I will give it to thee, and
Mm-hmm.
the rest of the strongholds and forces, and all that have any charge as for me, I will return and depart. For this is the cause of my coming. See,
Mm-hmm.
he was ready to kill Jonathan, but he trying to give him a different land.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Oh man.
That's crazy.
Verse 46. So Jonathan, believing him, did as he bade bade him, and sent away his host, who went into the land of Judea,
Mm-hmm.
and with him himself he retained but 3,000 men, of whom he sent 2,000 into Galilee, and
Mm-hmm.
1,000 went with him. Now as soon as Jonathan entered into Ptolemais, they of Ptolemais shut the gates and took him, and all them that came with him they slew with the sword.
See?
Now then sent Tryphon and host of footmen and horsemen into Galilee, into the great plain, to destroy all Jonathan's company. But when they knew that Jonathan and they that were with him were taken and slain, they encouraged one another, and went close together, prepared to fight.
Mm-hmm.
They
Slakia, what verse you at? I lost.
50.
50, that's what I thought. Okay, yeah, you got it.
But when they knew that Jonathan and they that were with him were taken and slain, they encouraged one another, and went close together, prepared to fight.
Mm-hmm.
They therefore that followed upon them, perceiving that they were ready to fight for their lives, turned
Turn.
back again.
Yep.
Whereupon they came into the land of Judea peaceably, and there they bewailed Jonathan and them that were with him, and they were so afraid. Wherefore all Israel made great lamentation. And all the heathen that were round about them sought to destroy them,
Mm-hmm.
for they say, for they said they that have no captain nor any to help them. Now for let us make war upon them, and take away their memorial from among men.
Yep.
Whoo! That shit was cold, boy.
That was cold
I'm
as
telling you,
hell, bro.
man. They got him. They got
Yep.
Jonathan, man.
Yep. They got him. So, but you see how much of a prominent position that he held, man. No one really wanted to, as long as Jonathan was rocking, but again, this just goes also to show you the craftiness and the wickedness of the nations, understanding our power. Jonathan was a man of the Lord. Jonathan was righteous in the eyes of Yahweh Shemel Shah. All right. So
Mm-hmm.
therefore, with that, no one could, no one could really do anything. He was that covering through the strength of power of Yahweh Shemel Shah. right? But it all goes back to what? Because he was that link. He would encourage our nation, encourage our people, right? He would do what was right. He would keep the laws, keep the customs, the best of his ability. All right. He would rile up the men, and the people when needed. All right, and encourage them in a manner that would lead to victory ultimately. But it's just like even today. Once you remove that head of that God here, that leadership, then Israel's a scattered sheep, man.
Yep.
And the nations know this. So this is why it's very, very important reading this history. This is your history. Go into this history and you see how the nations dealt with us even back then. It'll make a lot more sense today on why they have us so divided, why they have us this fighting and though it's a part of the curses as well. But as Scripture says, they helped forward the afflictions, right? So they made it that much worse. All right, ultimately. So, but having a keen understanding of our history, you're able to see and understand a lot more what's going on in today, because Ecclesiastes 1:9, there's no new thing under the sun. It's the same thing over and over again. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So it was cold here, how they did. They finally got him,
Yep.
But when he was, but he was giving them hell ultimately, and when we go into the next chapter, and we'll read that next week. Simon leads the Jews. All right. So, so we went from, what was it? Mattathias, Judas. All right. Jonathan. Right. And now we're going into Simon. So these were men, great men. All right. That, fought for our nation, man. And had the love of Yahweh Shem Shai upon them. They were able to do great things, man, in defeat and battle, even at times where things seemed where the odds were set against them. But having the right hand of the Yahweh Shem Shai, we're gonna always be able to prevail, and our history shows that.
Yep.
Right.
As you read further and further into Maccabees, man, you understand. Once you start reading, then you follow off into Matthew, and you start reading Matthew.
Mm-hmm.
You understand why the Pharisees were the way they were. You understand why the Jews were the way they were, the way they acted towards Yahushua, which was a disrespectful ass manner, because they know about what their forefathers went through during this Greek time.
Right.
To uphold Jerusalem the way they did, even under the Roman Empire.
Mm-hmm.
Even though Jake was still a Roman citizen technically,
Right.
but nevertheless, Jake was still alive. Jake was still around.
Yep.
Even when Yahweh Bashim Yahushua could have let the heathen just completely wipe us out, it never happened.
Right. There always had to be a Israel in the earth.
Yep.
When you have an sin, go ahead. You got it.
I was just gonna say shit. And one of the main reasons why that's the case is because shit, Jake gonna make you money, bro.
Yeah. Yep.
Jake is money is a big, huge man. I don't know a god. And when we say gods, we mean idols. I don't know a bigger idol in the earth than money.
Yeah.
As they say in the world, money make the world go round.
That's right. That's right.
Money is always gonna be, for this time period anyway, the Godhead and the God figure of the earth.
That's right. I think it was Meyer Amschel Rothschild who said, "Give me the control of a nation's money, and I care not who makes its laws." So they understand the importance of money. Money pretty much makes everything, circulate. Yeah, you look at it, it's like, look at all these industries. Let's say Jake owned the football industry, because without Jake, there would be no football. Jake owned the basketball industry, because without Jake, there would be no basketball, right? Jake owned the music industry. There would be none. Jake owned clothing industry, let's say. All the nations would have nothing. Because when you really look at America as a whole, what's the culture of America? It's turned into Jake.
Yep.
It's America's culture literally has been for the past 20, 30 years is Jake. 40 years, Jake. our commercials, our music, everything. Now, it's just the salt of the earth ultimately, But we're gonna always go astray, and we'll always be destroyed and be subjected to another nation if we go away from our power. Right? I just wanted to grab this here really quick, and this is just kind of just um, concurring what we went into in this year chapter. Understanding, or should I say, what we were talking about. Um, as far as the Lord setting up particular men, right, to do His will ultimately and be righteous and get Israel and get our people out of certain situations. All right, and we went into the chapter. I think it was up in the mid 20, 30 verses. He was talking about keeping the laws, keeping the land, keeping the culture, keeping the customs. All those things are very, very important, and the heathen knows it. And this is and I advise those who are reading, who are following along too, to read Judith. The book of Judith is a really good book. You can get a good understanding of that. And I just want to grab this here, Judith 5, and I'm gonna start 17. And it says, "And when they sinned not before their God, they prospered because the God that hateth iniquity was with them." This is talking about Israel people. So when we sinned, when we didn't go off, when we weren't wicked, was it say the scripts? Was it say here? Yahweh Shemashah was with us. It goes on to say, but when they departed from the way which he appointed them, they were destroyed in many battles, very sore, and were led captive into Salakia. Very sore and led captive into lands that was not theirs. And the temple of Yahweh Shemashah was cast to the ground, and their cities were taken by the enemies. Right. And that what I first mentioned? Well, the first things to do what is go into and they destroy the temple, because that's our line back to Yahweh Shemashah. So certain times when we were out, he would set up men, all right, who would be that line. Moses was that line for Israel, and essentially the first king of Israel, when you really have the understanding, right? It goes on to say, but now they have returned. This is Judith 5 and 19. But now they are returned to their power and are come up from the places where they were scattered, and have possessed Jerusalem where their sanctuary is, and are seated in the hills countries, for it was desolate. Right. And so we kind of seeing what this is talked about here. Jonathan, basically coming into the city, refortifying the walls and whatnot, trying to build Jerusalem back up. It was all temporal. It goes on to say, now, therefore, my Lord, now this account is talking about, this is an actual general, and I think Halifanes is his name, and he's basically warning him, like, if you go up here and you mess with these people, if they keeping the laws, and they're not breaking the laws, and they're keeping them to the best of their ability, they're rehearsing the righteous acts, right? The Lord is going to be with them, and we're going to catch a fade. Ultimately, we are not going to win. But if they go off, if they're sinning like how we are now, if they're being wicked, then we have no covering. Okay, so Judas understood that. Matthias understood that, right? Jonathan understood that. So it goes on to say, now therefore, my Lord and governor, if there be any error against these people, and they sinned against their power, let us consider that this shall be their ruin, and let us go up and we shall overcome them. And that's exactly what happens each and every time. It goes on to say, but if there be no iniquity in this nation, right, if we're not going off and we're not sinning, right? We're keeping the laws of our best our abilities, like how our ancient forefathers did and our ancestors. Let my Lord now pass by, at least their Lord defend them and their God before them, and we become a reproach before all the world. Right? So this is this is really ultimately the big fear right now, because this is you're seeing Jacob standing up upon his feet, as the scripture's talking about, and the fear falling over the nations, right? Because we're coming back to Yahweh Shemashah, we're coming back to our power. And at the same time as we're preaching this word, all of these things are happening in the earth. World War II or III, rumors of war, pestilence, uprising in the nations, right? Proxy wars and different things that are happening in the world. Right? Why? Because the power of Yahweh Shemashah is being spoken again, right, through his prophets. So we understood this. So this was the main thing. Psalms 83 talks about all of the nations that were gathered to basically had that confederate against us, to forget who we are, to pull us away from who we are as a people, so they can overtake us. So our history is riddled with that same motto, right, from the very beginning all the way up to this time that we're in right now. I didn't want to, go on too long, but I just wanted to add that.
Sure.
Yeah. So,
That's it.
if you got anything you want to add else, anything else you want to add, brother?
I don't.
Okay. All right. Well, hey,
Yeah, you good.
I pray this lesson was edifying unto those who are meant to receive it. All right. Tune in Abaratazan next week. We're going to be going into chapter 13, First Maccabees 13. All right. We'll get some more of that history dealing with Simon and our nation. All right. Him leading us. All right. And just the trials and the things that we went through then that ultimately a lot of stuff we're still going through today. All right. So with that being said, I'm going to give all honors and praises to Yahweh,
Yeah.
Bahashim, Yahushua, Bahashim Rakakwadash. All right. And shalom to the elders and apostles, great millstone. And shalom to you, Akim, and if you Athwat that tune in. Shalom.